Fraile Island, also known as Fort Drum, is a small rocky island located in the mouth of Manila Bay in the Philippines. It is situated approximately 3.5 kilometers off the coast of Cavite City. Fraile Island is notable for the presence of Fort Drum, a fortified concrete battleship built by the United States in the early 1900s. The construction of the fort began in 1909 and was completed in 1914. The purpose of Fort Drum was to protect the entrance to Manila Bay and defend against potential naval attacks. Fort Drum was constructed using reinforced concrete and featured mounted guns and artillery. It had a significant role during World War II when it successfully withstood numerous attacks by Japanese forces. The fort remained under the control of the Philippine military until it was decommissioned in the 1970s. Today, Fraile Island and Fort Drum are considered historical landmarks and tourist attractions. Although the island is off limits to the public due to its military significance, it can still be admired from a distance during boat tours or while passing through Manila Bay. During World War II, Fraile Island, also known as Fort Drum, played a significant role in the defense of Manila Bay and the Philippines. Here's a summary of its history during that period. Japanese invasion. In December 1941, Japan launched a surprise attack on the Philippines, targeting various military installations. Fraile Island, with its fortified concrete battleship Fort Drum, became a prime target due to its strategic location guarding the entrance to Manila Bay. Fortification. Prior to the Japanese invasion, Fort Drum had been heavily fortified by the United States. It was equipped with powerful artillery, including 14-inch guns, anti-aircraft weapons, and various other defenses. Its thick concrete walls provided protection against enemy attacks. Japanese attacks. In early 1942, Japanese forces launched a series of assaults on Fraile Island. They bombarded Fort Drum with artillery fire and launched air attacks, but the fort's sturdy construction allowed it to withstand the attacks without sustaining significant damage. Siege and surrender. Despite the resilience of Fort Drum, the surrounding areas of Manila Bay fell to Japanese control. The remaining American and Filipino forces in the Philippines, including those on Corregidor Island, eventually surrendered to the Japanese on May 6, 1942. This marked the end of organized resistance in the region. Occupation and abandonment. With the fall of the Philippines, Fraile Island and Fort Drum came under Japanese occupation. The Japanese used the island as a lookout and defensive position. However, as the war progressed and the tide turned against Japan, the strategic significance of the fort diminished. Liberation. In 1945, Allied forces, primarily consisting of American and Filipino troops, launched a campaign to liberate the Philippines from Japanese occupation. The Battle of Manila Bay commenced, and Fraile Island was eventually retaken by Allied forces. Post-war period. After the war, Fraile Island and Fort Drum were no longer actively used for military purposes. The fort was decommissioned in the 1970s and remains unoccupied to this day. It is now considered a historical landmark and is part of the Manila Bay Defense Complex. The history of Fraile Island during World War II showcases the fort's resilience and its role in the defense of Manila Bay, as well as the larger context of the Japanese invasion and subsequent liberation of the Philippines.